So if you have to leave early, or if you're going to be able to, if somebody that you work with maybe couldn't join us, you can always share this recording with them tomorrow when you get it. So I would like to do a quick introduction for myself, and then I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves on a shared voice thread. So for those of you who don't know, my name is George. I'm the instructional designer here at VoiceThread. Before I worked at VoiceThread, I was an instructional designer on the higher ed level, and we used VoiceThread a lot for our online programs. Before that, I was in the K-12 classroom, and I used VoiceThread a lot for various collaborations outside of my classroom with other classes around the world, or experts in various fields. And I found that because VoiceThread is asynchronous, it made it a lot easier to connect with people, because you didn't have to worry about scheduling. And that was always an issue when you're trying to connect with schools in Hong Kong, or somebody who is an expert on crowdsourcing who may be at a business meeting in Brussels or something like that. So VoiceThread was a great tool because it is asynchronous and you don't need to be on at the same time. So one of the things that I'm going to ask you to do is to leave a comment on this thread. So if you are going to be accessing this thread through the mobile app, I shared a link to the group today. So actually, let me go in and get that link to share one more time, just in case there's somebody in here who maybe wants to be a part of it, but didn't get the email in time. So I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to put this in the chat. So this link is going to be to join the group. So if you don't want to participate tonight, you don't have to worry about this. Or if you're just going to be participating from your browser, then you don't need to worry about this either. But I am going to share this link with you, and that's to join the group. So this way I can share using the app, and you'll be able to have access to it. So I see we do have a number of people in here, which is great. It's great to see all these people that joined. All right, so let me go back in to the thread. I'm going to give you a quick little tour here of what to do, and then I will be sharing this with the group. So this is the intro slide. So I'm going to ask you to leave an introduction on here. Now, there are other slides in this thread, but let's hold off on those for now. I will ask you to participate a little bit later on slide 2. But for now, let's just worry about the first slide. As you can see, I started off with my camera upside down here. But I left a little message in there, and there's a little message from my son too, so you may want to check that out. But commenting on the browser version and the app is the same thing. So you just click on the plus sign. In the browser version, you have a few more options. So if you want to leave an audio comment or a webcam comment, you can. And here's how you do that. You click on the microphone, you would click allow, and then you are recording. When you finish recording your intro, you can click stop, allow, and save, and your identity image will appear over here in our conversation channel. So I'm going to delete that one for now because we don't need it. But let me bring in the mobile app. All right, so it's the same process. All right, so if you're going to leave a comment here, same deal. You click on the plus sign. You can see you have 3 options. If you want to leave an audio comment, you click on the mic, and then you can stop and save it. All right, so that's how that works. I apologize when it's recording, the screen share goes away, but you get the idea. Click on the plus sign, click on the microphone or webcam, or if you have to leave text, you can as well. And then just make sure you click save, and that will be there. So I'm going to share that right now. I'm going to share this thread with the group. All right, so if you can see, I'm looking for the group name. All right, and I'm just going to check off the VoiceThread Mobile Workshop group and click save. All right, so now everybody who joined the group should see that. If you look in your mobile app, All right, you should see it in your group. If you scroll down, you'll see your group, the VoiceThread Mobile Workshop group. You can click on that, and then you can open it up from here. All right, and press play. So now I'm going to get the link and share it with everybody else so you could leave your intros. All right, we're going to take about 2 minutes for this, and I promise I'll stop talking. All right, so I'm putting that in the chat as well for those of you that are going to be participating via the browser. There's the link. So let's take 2 minutes for those intros, and I'll check back in with you guys then. All right, 30 seconds, folks. All right, everyone. So time is up for that for now. I apologize to the people that I'm speaking over. I know every week when I check the intros the next day, I always hear myself talking over somebody, so I apologize for that. But I would like to move on. So I'm going to show you a few things. First, let me just give you a tour of this thread so you know what else is happening here. All right, so we have our intro slide here, and there are a number of people I've already commented, which is great. You can always go back and leave your intro later, remember. On this slide, there's a brainstorm for some ideas. So don't do this yet, but we are going to make our second comment on this slide. I'm going to show you a little bit about what this slide is all about. On the next 3 slides are the tutorials for using the mobile app. So I'm going to show you them live on the app now, but you'll have these as a reference to go back and check and see how to upload, how to comment, and how to share. So let me go in, bring the app back here. All right, so I'm going to go back here. I'm going to access all right? So right now, you can see I'm on my home tab. So I can see all the various threads that I have access to, whether I created these or whether somebody shared them with me. All right, if I go up here to this menu, I could access just the ones that are created by me, the ones that are shared by me, or I can go into any of my groups. All right, so for your students, or if you're dealing with, if you're in a class as a teacher, you could go and find that class by scrolling. All right, and then when you go into that group, you will see all the threads that are shared with that group. All right, now if you wanted to play any of these, you can load more down at the bottom. All right, and you can play any of these just by tapping on them. All right, so let me come back here and go back to the ones that are created by me, and I'll open it up. So this is the one that I shared. You can see that there's comment notifications. These are all recent comments underneath. All right, if I want to play it, I can just come here and click on the play button, and it will open it up. Hang on one second. All right, so that's how you can navigate around there. You can see down here there's an activity tab, so I could see all the unheard messages that I have. All right, and I can also create from here as well. All right, so hold on one second. All right, and all of those things, like I said, are in they're in these tutorials. How to upload, how to comment, and how to share. So you can access those whenever you like. And I will get into a little more working with the mobile app in just a minute. But I did want to talk about some of the ideas for what kind of threads lend themselves to mobile learning. So the obvious idea is to let your students go out into the world, right? That's the benefit of having a mobile device, is that you can bring it wherever you are. And it's a way to remove the barriers, remove the walls from your class, right? So VoiceThread being an asynchronous tool is a way for you to remove time constraints, all right? But using a mobile app is a way for you to remove the physical constraints of the classroom, right? So we're no longer bound by time or space when we can use a VoiceThread mobile app for our learning. All right, and there are a number of ideas. I'm going to pop back into this slide in a little bit before we comment, but I want to show you some other threads. This one is for a field trip. All right, so field trips are a great idea, I know, especially in the K-12 classroom, but even in higher ed. I mean, I worked with a faculty member once on the higher ed level who was she taught business marketing for fashion, and she sent her students out to New York Fashion Week to take pictures of people who are trend setting and things like that, and they discussed it on a voice thread. So this is something that you can do with any level. It doesn't have to be an organized field trip on a school bus, but it certainly can be. So I know most students already have mobile devices of one kind or another, and you can give them different tasks to find, scavenger hunts, things like that. So I'll just play a few comments here. This one is a text comment, but this teacher found a Mobius band. All right, and there's you can use soap. You can make bubbles with soap, right? So these are all different features of the museum that they went to, and these are little tours that you can give. The students can discuss what they learned. If they go to a science museum, they can discuss the various things that they saw and learned and share it with their parents, right, who may not have been able to make the trip. If you had parents who are working during the day, this is a great way for students not only to capture their learning and to document what they learned. Instead of just having a fun experience, it could be fun and educational. And it's also a way to share it with your school community, right? So next year's class can see what last year's class did and things like that. Here is another example of a field trip. And these students went out and found various features in nature.
So this is my response to the Chattahoochee River prompt. And I really think that the sand and the different types of rocks and the shells tell me that I'm near a river, because you don't really see just sand around, you know.
All right, so this student not only took a picture of one of the key features of the environment that they were supposed to look for, but they're explaining why they believe it was close to a river and things like that, right? So you can see the shells, you can see the rocks, and the student's pointing that out. All right, and just for the record, you can use the Doodle Tool as well on the mobile device, and I do recommend it. If you're going to do heavy doodling, I would always try and use it on a tablet, just because writing with the stylus I found is much neater than my writing with a mouse or a trackpad. But there are a number of different threads, various students finding different features. So the way this could work is you can share a thread with some instructions with your students, share it with the group, just the way I shared our thread with our group on the mobile device. And then you can ask them to go out and add to the thread, right? And they can go and upload, take a picture on their mobile phone, upload it, and comment on it when they find something of interest.
This is Rachel Bergeron, and I am responding to the Chattahoochee River prompt, which I believe is the fourth one. If you look at the trees in this environment that on the hill, several of them are leaning in towards the river, which typically, if you wouldn't see the river, means there is a body of water because they are on a hill. And
all right, so as you can see, this isn't just a normal field trip out in the woods, right? This isn't a walk in the park. The students, I'm sure, had a great time, and I'm sure there was plenty of laughing and fun, but you can see that there's real thought and there's real learning going on. And if you can combine getting outside and using higher order thinking, I think you're ahead of the game, right? All right, this example is one for math, all right? So this is geometry out in the real world. And the students are going out and taking pictures and then letting the teacher know what shapes they're finding for their geometry class, excuse me.
it's a pentagon with 5 sides.
I see a quadrilateral. The only thing I know is a barrel. I see a chair.
All right, so these students are all going out and finding different images and explaining how this relates to what they were doing in geometry, right? So that's something they could easily do, and this could all be done on a shared voice thread. Here's another example of some geometry in the real world.
This is a smoke detector. It's an example of a rectangular prism.
All right, so on this one, the teacher was doing most of the work here, but I think this is something you could easily transfer to the students.
This is a globe on a light fixture. It is an example of a sphere.
All right, so I thought that was pretty neat, sending the students out to find shapes and things like that out in the real world. And I know when I go out with my son, we're always looking for different things. Whatever he's learning in school, we talked about angles, and when we see an acute or an obtuse angle, we always try to point it out, and it's kind of like an I Spy type of thing. And that's when I'm with him in person. But if I had a class of 30 students, I could easily ask them to go out when they're with their parents and take a picture and upload it to a shared voice thread and let us know when they see an acute or obtuse angle. And you could even gamify that a little bit and give out points and things like that for students that can find the most or can find the best examples, right? All right, here is another example. This one is for an interview. So I thought this was pretty good. If you send your students out into the real world to meet with people who may not be on VoiceThread, they may be somebody who works somewhere they're not involved in education, and maybe they don't want to participate online. Maybe they're not that tech savvy. You could always send them out to interview and to record the conversation on a voice thread. So this one you can see is very simple. There's just a simple document upload here as a background with the questions. And this person went to a Dunkin' Donuts to interview, to a McDonald's to interview the manager there.
Been at the one in North Conway 6 years now. I started off down in Massachusetts. 1987 I started. So it put me about 23 years I've been with McDonald's now.
All right, now on each one of these slides, you could have a different question and different response.
I need to be working most all the time, but I am married. I have 2 kids. I spend a lot of time with them, going out and doing different things.
All right, so whether you're working for any type of a business class or it's a career day or something like that, take your child to work day, your students can bring their mobile apps out in the world, out in their neighborhood, and meet people and interview them, right? I know I had spoken to some teachers who on Veterans Day had asked their students to go interview a veteran from Vietnam or World War II and ask them about their experiences. And that's the kind of thing that's really powerful. And there are some of the people who may be, World War II vets or Vietnam vets may not have access to computers. They may not be that tech savvy, right? But your students can still bring their mobile device and still capture all that learning in a real, authentic way. Here's another example of an interview, and this one is using the webcam.
Thanks. I'm doing very well, thank you.
What would you like for me to refer to you as, Mrs. Paplow or Dr. Paplow?
I've always thought of myself as a nurse, so Mrs. Paplow would be fine, thank you.
Chovish, continue.
All right, so I think this interview goes on for a while, but you can see how easy it would be if you record video comments. So we don't have video uploads right now as central media, but you can record video as a comment on the mobile app. All right, and here's another example, and this is the same thing. I don't want to mislead you because right now we don't accept video uploads, but you can certainly record it as a video comment. And this is a student who's demonstrating some skills. So this is a guitar player. So for students who are at home and have hobbies, you can ask them to show you what they do with their hobby and maybe make a tutorial for other students. All right, I just want to make one note. I do see a question in the chat about the choppiness. Just be aware of the fact that we are watching this video from through GoToWebinar. So there is a lag on the, there's a delay on the video for GoToWebinar, but if you record your comments, you'll see that the video should not be, there shouldn't be a lag. All right, and this is an example, another example of a how-to where this student is going to take you through their experiment. So it's like a little engineering experiment with using Jenga blocks as dominoes.
This is about, I made a domino thing, like dominoes. Ian helped me build it a little bit. I started out with like straight lines.
All right, so the student is going to tip over the dominoes and see where the domino falls, right? So there's a little physics involved, there's a little engineering, and the student documents each step in the process here. All right, and if it doesn't work, the student goes back and tries again.
This time it kind of launched it, but it didn't exactly make it in a different chord I made down there. But this time it's kind of different.
All right, so you can see each step of the process here for the student, and it's all documented on a mobile phone in the house, right? So like I said, the learning doesn't need to just take place in the classroom or in the gym or in the art room, right? It could take place anywhere at any time. And if you can design lessons with that in mind and let students express themselves, I think you'll find the experiences can be really rich. All right, and this is another how-to, right? So students can use their mobile devices to take pictures, upload them, and narrate on a how-to, right? Stuff they may have at home. So some of these ideas are things that maybe you wouldn't bring into the classroom. Maybe it's too complicated. You don't want students to bring in valuable stuff or lose things or have to worry about where to put it in between periods. But if you have them do stuff at home, you don't have to worry about any of that, right? So instead of saying, bring in some of this stuff and we'll work on it in class, give them some direction and let them take care of it at home. And then they can share what they did with the rest of the class on a VoiceThread. So this student is taking you through how to do a stop motion Lego video.
First, you need a camera like in this picture. You'll also need a tripod to put your camera on to keep it nice and steady. If you don't have a tripod, you can make a custom one or go buy one. But if you do and the tripod's too tall, then you can put it on a table or a desk and have the tripod close to it and take the pictures like that. First, you're going to have your Lego minifigure in a standing position.
All right, so you can see that student goes on to explain how to do the stop motion video. Here's one. This is actually one that my son had made, and when he found out that you could use the mobile phone, he was really excited. And he was about 5.5 here, and he's giving a tutorial to his friends about how to put together this Lego monkey.
Hello, I'm George. This is how to put together a Lego monkey. And the pieces are head, face, banana, hands, tail, and a glass the body. First, for the monkey, the first thing you have to do is put the face on the head. Next, you put the head on the body. Then, next, you turn the monkey around, and then you put the tail on the body.
All right, so now I've given you a number of ideas. What I'd like to do is hear some of your ideas for how you think you can use VoiceThread Mobile with your class. On this slide, there are a number of comments. I'm not going to play them all. I'm just going to give you one. This slide was actually created by Michelle Pacansky-Brock, who some of you may know. She's a wonderful educator and a VoiceThread user extraordinaire. So I actually asked her if I could use this as part of the presentation, and she graciously accepted. So I wanted to just play her comment on this slide, and then I'm going to ask you to leave your own comments. And you can see there are a number of other comments here from people who are not in this workshop. These are people who left comments on Michelle's VoiceThread back a couple of years ago. But I would recommend checking some of those out. There are some good ideas on there as well. But let me just play Michelle's comment for you.
Hi there, it's Michelle again. If I was teaching an ancient art class, I would give my students a list of key terms from architecture and have them go out into their local communities and find examples of those terms in their local architecture all around them. I'm standing up at a local bank in my neighborhood, and if you look behind me, you can see an example of what's called an engaged column. And at the top is a Doric capital, and both of those stem all the way back to ancient Greece.
All right, so like I said, that's an example. I put one on there too, and there are a number of other examples. And this is the same voice thread that is shared with you in the group. So if you're one of those people who joined the group, you should still have access to it. I am going to put the link in the chat as well for those of you that did not join the group and then maybe closed out. So I'll put that in there one more time. I'm going to give about 3 minutes for this one. So on slide 2, just leave your thoughts for how you think you might be able to use the mobile app for some kind of a mobile specific lesson design. All right, let's take 3 minutes, and I'll try not to cut you off at the end. 30 seconds left, folks. All right, so that's all the time we have for that. I apologize if I'm cutting anybody off, but I did want to show you a little more about the mobile app and how to get around and how to use various elements within it. So like I said, there are video tutorials in that shared thread that I gave you on slides 3, 4, and 5. There's a tutorial for how to upload, how to comment, and how to share. But I'm going to show you that stuff right now as well. So if you look, when you open the app, you see that Create tab there. I can tap on that, and I'll see this plus sign. All right, so right now, the way it works is that you can upload one image from your phone at a time. All right, like I said, we don't handle video uploads on the mobile app. You can, of course, upload video on our browser version, but I just wanted to make you aware of that. We do accept webcam recordings from your phone's camera as a comment, but not as the central media in your thread. So let's say I wanted to upload an image. I click on the plus, and then I can go find the pictures that I want to upload. Tap on it, and it's going to begin to process. All right, you can see now that's uploaded. If I want to add another one, I can just tap on the plus side again, find another image to upload, and that's going to begin to process as well. All right, so if you're out in the wild, obviously your pictures probably wouldn't be quite as colorful unless you're in a garden of some type, but I like these images. So let's say I'm happy with this and I'm going to record my comments now. I can click Done, and now I'll be able to give this a title. I can put in a description and tags if I want to. For now, I'm just going to click Save. All right, now I'm ready to comment. So remember, commenting is the same on the mobile app. The interface is the exact same. If I click on the plus sign, it opens up our commenting fan, and you'll see the 3 options. So I can use text if I want to. Leave a text comment, which you can see over here. All right, and the one thing that's not in the app is the types of direct replies that you can now reply directly to people. If there is a long string of comments, you can directly reply to the comment that you like. So let's say I want to record audio. I can click on the microphone. Now I am recording. All right, so you won't be able to see this one. I apologize. It disappears when I do the screen share. Now I am recording, but you can also access the Doodle Tool as well. All right, so if I want to advance to the next slide, I can just swipe. All right, I'll swipe left, get to the next slide, and then I can begin commenting again. All right, and you'll see my comment appear over there. I can move the commenting box around if I need to. If it's blocking something, I can always try to get it out of the way, or shrink it down, resize it. I can edit if I want to. All right, and you'll see it's there. All right, and remember the last step would be to share. So I can access that through our sharing menu up here. And if I wanted to email it or share it on Twitter, most of the time with your students, you're going to be wanting to share it with their groups. All right, so you can find that there. All right, I check my group, I click save, and now this one is shared with that group as well. So if you go out and take a mobile recording and you use the app to record a voice thread, please feel free to share it with that mobile group. I'd love to see what you do. Now, if I wanted to go back in and edit this thread here, I can just click edit and I'd be able to add more images that I may need. All right, so you can see it's now processing. And once that uploads, I'd be able to comment on this one as well, just by tapping on it, clicking on the plus sign, and then I can record my comment. I know you can't see that recording part, but you'll see I could doodle as well. All right, so I find the doodling is much neater on the mobile app than on the browser version. I click save, and we're good to go there. If I want to, I can change identities as well, just by tapping on my name in the upper right corner here. If I had a different identity for whatever reason, I could always select that one, whether you're doing some role plays or something like that, a historical role play with your students. Or I know sometimes the teachers of really young students like to have it all in one spot, so they create identities for the kindergarten students and things like that, and that's fine as well. So now if I comment using this identity, you'll see it appears with the VT logo instead of my primary identity, right? So now I can go back and change that if I want to, and click done. All right, to X out, I can just click on the X, and that brings me back here. I can always go in to access my account if I need to. I can change my domain if I need to, if you're in the ed.voicethread community. And as always, I can track my activity as well. All right, so that is about it for tonight's session. Like I said, there are tutorials on the next few slides here. Slide 4, slide 5.
This tutorial, I'm going to show you how to...
All right, you can see all the step-by-step there, so you can feel free to experiment with any of that stuff that you like. And feel free, as always, to leave comments on any of the other slides. If you didn't get to leave your intro, or if you have an idea later on this evening or tomorrow, please feel free to share it with us on this slide. Now we'll take a few minutes. I know a number of you have questions. So I'm going to take a look in the chat room with Sadie. I know she's usually faster typing than I am speaking, so. Okay, so Rick, I see your question. When you open the VoiceThread, it automatically jumps to the comments, not the slides. All right, so well, the comments and the slides should be in the same place. So if you got an email notification and you clicked on that notification in the email notification may be for an individual comment. So let's say I got an email notification for Pam's comment here. All right, so let's say Pam leaves a comment. I get an email notification that she left that comment. If I click on her comment in my email, it'll open right up to Pam's comment. It won't start from the beginning. It'll start from hers because that's the notification. But normally when you start a VoiceThread, it's going to start with the first comment is going to play first, and they'll play in sequential order. All right, well, so on the iPad, it should be the same thing. So let me bring this in here. All right, so if I want to come in here and play this, all right, so let's X out of that. All right, so I see, yeah, so on mine it just actually jumped. It opened it up where I left it last. But you can always swipe to get to the next slide or swipe to get to the previous slide as well. All right, so I see your question about creation. And that's the process we showed earlier. So if you remember, there is a video on this on slide 4 of that shared thread, but all you need to do is come down here and click create, click on the plus sign, then you can go into your photos, find the photo that you want to add, and that photo will begin to upload. All right, so now if I want to start recording comments, I can. I can also just give it a title. All right, and then to comments, it's the same process. You click on the plus sign and you see your commenting options, and you can record. You can record audio. I know this is going to go away once I click the microphone, but it's recording now. I can circle what I need to stop recording. It's recording now. I can circle what I need to and click save. All right, so that's that process. All right, so let's see Tracy's question. All right, so if you're recording from a desktop, can you switch to share the slides on the screen? Yes, for sure. So on the browser version, if you want to add any type of media, you can. So I have videos here. These are PDFs, right? So just about any file type you have, whether it's a document, a PowerPoint presentation, a video, an audio file, all of that stuff you can upload from the browser version on a desktop or a laptop computer. We are working on adding those functions into the mobile app, but for right now, the mobile app is images only. But you can record from the camera as a webcam comment. Yeah, so all you need to do there is share editing rights with your students. So let's say you create a thread. All right, so let's say I create this thread here, and I want to share it with our group. So let me find that VoiceThread Mobile Workshop group. All right, so this is something you can try now. I can drag this into our group. And this is the thread I just created, just a sample. But I can give everybody in that group edit rights and then click share. So if anybody in the workshop, if you are in the group, if you join the group, you should see that cat thread right now. You can feel free to upload images or whatever you want to that. And you'll see that's a shared thread. Yeah, so I don't have any particular recommendations for microphone hardware. I'm not usually that picky with that stuff, but typically you can find pretty cheap stuff that's pretty good nowadays. Any headphone mic combination is great for laptops, but even the microphones on a laptop are pretty good, and the phone mics are pretty good too. So I wouldn't get too stressed out about it. The big thing to think about is just being in a quiet place. If you're in a crowded place, if there's a dishwasher or an air conditioner in the background, that could cause problems. But as long as you're in a quiet room, it shouldn't really matter. Yeah, so Keith raises a great point there about creating, if you want to have a shared voice thread, I would always recommend creating it on a laptop on your computer and sharing it with the students, and then they could access it and add to it from their mobile device. But usually you have a little more flexibility with what you want to do, including video, right? So keep that in mind. If you record video and you upload it on your desktop or laptop computer and then share it, the students can access it from their mobile devices and add to it if they want to. All right, so I see Randy's question about the camera. So one thing to note is that when you have, let me see if I can show you. So I'm going to orient the iPad. All right, and you can see this button for an iPhone or the iPad. If you want the webcam comment to appear right side up, this is the proper way. So the iPad actually does let you see the image the way you want to see it, even if you technically have the device upside down. So it tricks you into believing that there's no right way to orient it. But when you do upload the video, the actual metadata in the back of the video does have an orientation up and down. So this is the right way to do it with the button on the left when you record. So that's how you would do it on the phone. And if you had the button on the right, it would actually appear upside down, even though while you're recording it, the iPad flips it to make it look like it's oriented properly for you. Yeah, so I see Kathleen's question, does a VoiceThread work equally well on a PC and a Mac? Yes, because it's not software that you download. It's all on the browser. So it really is a question of which browser you're using, whether it's Chrome, Firefox, Explorer, Safari. And we always recommend Chrome just because that updates your Flash automatically, so you don't have to worry about that. That's the only thing on the desktop or laptop, the browser version of VoiceThread. You just need to make sure you have an up-to-date Flash player. And Firefox and Internet Explorer and Safari do not automatically do that. So it's not that big of a deal, but you just have to be aware of that. Chrome does it automatically. So that's why you can't use your browser on your mobile device to use VoiceThread because it is Flash on the back end, but that's why we have the app. Oh, thank you, Rick. All right, so I see yeah, there was a question about storage limits. As long as you have a VoiceThread license, you shouldn't have to worry about that. There are some for the free trial people, but not for the upgrades. That sounds great, Keith. Thank you. Let us know how it works out. And if you are able to get some faculty to work that into what they do, we'd love to see some examples and hear a little more about it. All right, everyone. So I think that's going to be about it for tonight. I think the questions have slowed to a trickle. So I'm going to let you all go. But we did want to thank you so much for joining us. We do have some more workshops coming up in January. So we hope you all have happy holidays. And hopefully some of you can come back and join us for one of our basics workshops. We have a basics 1, 2, and 3 coming up. And I will send you the links to all that and the recording of this session tomorrow. But you can also check them out yourself just by going to voicethread.com/workshops. So thank you all so much. Have a great night. And we're looking forward to working with you in 2016. Take care.